Exactly.
be formal.
Scott.
Oh, yeah.
And we're on.
Oh, we are. Okay, good evening. I'm sitting here with all my friends. April 7th, FinCom meeting. We're up in room 307 today, so we look a little bit different. We're happy to have the Water Department here today with us. And also, we're going to have Park and Rec and do some budget talk and talk about town warrant articles. We have to vote on some of those that are still open. And then we're going to discuss the annual report and other things that we need to do before town meeting. So that's the agenda. So I will welcome our colleagues from the Water Department.
Okay.
And-
I'm Scott Edwards, General Manager of the Littleton Light and Water. This is Nick Lawler, the Assistant General Manager. I have some handouts here I can give you.
Scott, you might want to just pull up to the mic so that
Okay.
your presentation gets
I can do that.
picked up good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
There you are. So I thought, I guess, a good place to start, and you can probably tell by these that Nick and I are engineers, so it's all spreadsheets. Not a lot of words and explanations, and we do everything with numbers, okay? So,
For me. Works for this crowd.
okay, good.
We're going to
good.
have numbers grow too.
Exactly, that's why I thought that was good, so. What I did is, the very first page is kind of where we're at with the budget at the end of February. And this was the budget that was presented last spring, and as you may recall, FY '14, the water budget came up short, and we had to move some money from reserve funds. Well, it appears that the FY '15 budget is also going to do that. And I think, some of the, if you look in the available balance, some of the red circled areas are things that were under budgeted. And I think the reason for that is because our second treatment plant came online. And I just don't think the previous GM had a handle on the treatment, which is the chemicals and the electricity that it would use, and it was just under budgeted. So I actually sat down with Bonnie a little while ago to go over this, and we kind of came up with a plan. And down at the bottom, it looks like we're going to be about $150,000 short. As part of the budget process, we do have a $100,000 reserve fund that can actually be moved into the operations. That to do that, a vote is required by the water commissioners in the FinCom. So that will probably happen sometime before July.
So that's just built into your budget. There's $100,000 there to use in
Exactly.
case of emergencies.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
And then there's another 60 that we're going to move from surplus, which is, I can show you on the next few pages. That's going to be a town meeting vote. And that's moving from which was a line item of surplus. We actually have to have town meeting move that into operations.
Now, does Bonnie actually have it on the special
Yes.
in May? So
Yep.
it's
If you go to the
in
new-
an article?
Yeah, if
already.
you go to the next page, Article 5 is Article 5 of the special town meeting.
Right.
We're moving, we had a $160,000 line item for surplus. We're going to move 100,000 of that into capital, and 60,000, approximately 60,000, into the expense part of the budget.
So not to ask stupid, but what's the surplus? What's that from?
It's basically the way it was laid out, and I did it a little different this year, but the way it was laid out was that, the expenses were lower than the revenue, projected revenue, so that excess amount was just called surplus, $160,000.
So it's budgeted that way?
Surplus.
Okay.
But to use that surplus, you actually have to get a town meeting vote.
Interesting.
So and I'll show you in a minute, we're doing it a little different this year.
That's fine. Good.
And then the next article in the in the special town meeting is a borrowing for the Cedar Hill water tank project, which is a project that's a rehab project that we're under mandate from the DEP to do. A couple of things with that is we put this as kind of a placeholder, because we do not believe that we would need to borrow this money because of, we're transferring some capital in there. I think we're going to build up our funds to do that project without it. But both Bonnie and Steve thought it was a good idea just for a placeholder to keep it in there. So in case we did have to borrow any money, it's already voted on. Now, that being said, and we'll get to this a little bit later, I don't think we're going to do the project at all. So that will probably get pulled for town meeting, that article.
We won't do it at all, or we won't do it in FY16?
Definitely not in FY16.
Okay.
I mean, at some point we may, but that's to be seen. But I can talk about that down the road a little ways.
Okay, great.
So then, in the annual town meeting, this is our budget. We have our estimated revenue sources, which is our rates, our different fees, our connection fees, things like that, are estimated to be a little over $3 million. We have the $100,000 that we're moving from the surplus. So that gives us a total revenue of $3.1 million. Estimated salary and wages and expenses together are about $2,800,000 and $1.2 million. And then we have, instead of calling it surplus, we've actually put it in as capital outlay, which was that was Bonnie and Steve's suggestion, that we do it that way, because that way, once it's voted on, we can use that for capital. We don't have to come back and move it at town meeting.
But only for capital?
It's only for capital, correct.
That's the 387?
The 65
65
is for equipment, and the 387
So
is
both of
for
those.
Yep.
water system improvements. And then we also put in there the $100,000 reserve fund, which we can transfer into either salaries or expenses with a vote by the board and your board. And then we set aside also the debt principal and interest, which is, we can talk about that in a little while, but that's a separate fee that we set aside. So you can see that our expenses equal our revenues, no money from the town. So our enterprise fund should be self-funded, and that's what the explanation at the bottom lays out.
And you're going to talk about verifying what...
Oh, yes.
Already included in
Yes,
here
we are.
somehow?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is. This was actually these, and I can show you in a little bit, but these the revenues were higher. And we had more money we had an extra $200,000 in the reserve, or in the capital outlay, but we backed off of that a little
And
bit.
what's your revenue this year? Does it show over here? Just curious whether it's up or down, or...
From last year, I think it was lower. It was about 300,000 lower
Okay.
than it is here. And one of the reasons that that's gone up, and I can show you that too, is the debt service charge that we enacted, and we raised our
right.
connection fees
Right.
and things like that, so we got
Okay.
some extra revenue.
Oh.
Sorry for the interruption.
We are. We're only in 3 pages, so not too bad. So that's going to be the articles for town meeting. We've kind of laid our budget out a little different this year. Instead of just having a bunch of line items, we've actually broken it into different categories. And you can see on that next page, this one right here. We've broken it into administration, which are a lot of the, the salaries, the employee benefits, training, things like that, computer services, legal services. And then the way we operate, we have a kind of a distribution group, we have a production group, which is the wells and the treatment plants, and we have an environmental budget, which is, doing all the DEP work and the monitoring wells and things like that, taking care of our environmental obligations. And then capital. Which
But
is-
salaries and so on are not in these other, all of salaries are in the admin?
all the salaries are in the admin, the bond principal and interest is in the admin, everything's up there.
So what's in distribution is equipment kind of cost and so on?
Well, not capital equipment, but more, if you look, it's,
Materials?
it's, meters, hydrants, things that,
Oh, keep going, huh? Okay.
yeah, things out in the system, the pipes and the valves and the stuff out in the system that breaks, or we have to replace. We have gravel and asphalt and for water breaks and things like that, tools, equipment maintenance. But that would be stuff outside of the wells, out in the streets. That's what we call distribution. And then the production budget is our treatment plants and our wells. So, you're looking at chemicals, electricity, pumping equipment,
This is
chemical
actually
feed equipment,
Next couple of pages.
all that sort of thing. Outside services, if we bring someone in for, testing. And that's our production budget. The next one is environmental services, which is a lot, big part of that is the lab costs to test the water, professional services to come in to help us do leak detection and things like that. That's the biggest part of that budget. And then the capital budget, which is changed quite a bit. We had the $700,000 rehab of the Cedar Hill tank. So because we found out a little while ago that it looks like, Very Fine, Sunny Delight is closing their doors this fall. We're not, it is for sale, but it's about 20% of our water usage. It's about $400,000 in revenue. We kind of took a long look at Cedar Hill, which we're under order to rehab from the DEP, and we kind of asked ourselves, do we really need the tank right now? With Very Fine going away, do we need that storage? And we're pretty confident that we don't right now. With that 20% of our, water.
If you did,
What's
I
that?
said, what if you did?
We would probably have to borrow the money, because we're not going to have the revenue to cover the capital.
Right, so you just let us know then.
Right. So, we're not saying that, we're going to take it offline September 1st. We're not saying that it's going to be offline forever, but, if until our sales come back up, our need for more storage, there's really no use in having it. We have it holds about 400,000 gallons. We have two other tanks that hold 1.8 million gallons. We have one in Oak Hill and one at Newtown. So we have quite a bit of storage in the system as it is. So,
So what was the water mainly there for, just for that neighborhood, or it actually fed all the way over to?
well, it's an older, it was one of the first tanks, and as we added the other two tanks, all three tanks feed everything.
Yeah.
All three levels go up and down at the same time, It's just something that, it was there, we used it, it's very, no maintenance at all, you're just pumping water into a tank. Now that they're saying, it's a $700,000 fix to keep it running, we've told the DEP that we're going to take it offline September 1st, that's when we were going to take it offline to paint it and to rehab it, and we're going to keep it off until further notice. They're okay with that.
Is there a cost in mothballing it, or keeping it mothballed?
No.
So it'll just be empty?
Yep.
And if you decide you need it then, how long does it take you know, if he said to you, we really do, I mean, to get it back up online again.
Well, what would happen is, if we needed it, it would only be probably for summertime. So let's say, for instance, this winter, somebody comes in and buys the Very Fine plant and starts bottling it. We'd get it back up online, we'd tell DEP, we've already been out to bid for the project. We have all the specs, we would just put it out to bid again and probably get through the summer of 16 with it online and take it off in the fall of 16 and rehab it. It's about a 4-month process.
So is the DEP making you take it offline as of a certain
No.
date, or?
No, we're not under order to take it offline. We're under order to rehab it.
Right.
But we're.
And if you, if you didn't, then, I mean, what would be?
Well, what happens is you go into violations, and then
Oh,
they
so you'd
start
be
fining
violated.
you.
Okay, all right.
They start to fine you. They want it, you know, if you need it, if we needed that tank,
Yeah.
they'd make us do it either
Right,
way.
right.
They'd say, no, you're not taking it offline. But we have all the water modeling that shows that we don't really need it, especially with the Very Fine going away. So, you know, we're gonna take that off. So, what we actually had was, there's a capital plan, it's really hard to read, it's real small, this is the production capital plan, 5-year plan, but we actually have a lot of work to do at the Spec Pond treatment plant, and that's been pushed off for years now. That was our original treatment plant that we put in, and that's a filtration system. And the following year, FY '17, we had $450,000, I believe, in the plan to do some rehab there. So what we've done is we've broken that into 2 years now, since we're not doing Cedar Hill. We're going to do, we're going to put $180,000 into capital into Spec Pond FY '16, and in FY '17, we're going to put $220,000 into it. So that's where the $180,000 comes from. And then we need a utility truck and some other water equipment. We have some leak detection and things like that that we need to buy. So if you look at the the utility truck and the water equipment, that's $65,000. That's what's in the town meeting vote under equipment, capital outlay equipment. That's that 65. And then the 180 will come out of the rest of the capital.
Okay.
So that's one of the ways that we've reduced our budget.
And is the 110 one bank of modules, or is it?
Yeah.
The whole?
Yeah, we have four banks, 3 of them have been changed.
Right.
We
So this
still,
is
we
the-
have one that hasn't been
So
changed
this is the
that
fourth?
is original to the plant that's
Wow.
really not of much use to us right now. So yeah, that's definitely going to get changed.
Okay.
And then we have some pre-filter that needs to be changed. Also, we have a couple, we have some variable speed pumps that we're going to put in the wells that will help us kind of regulate the flow out of some of the wells
Okay.
now that we have the 2 treatment plants. So that was one of the ways that we reduced what we need for, for our expenses for FY '16. Now this, and I think I showed this to you a while ago, this is our 5-year plan. And this is the base case, this is what we were going to do before Very Fine gave us the bad news.
This is what I think we need the school department to be doing.
So if you look at FY '16, the second column over, I break it out into O&M and salaries at the top, and then the debt service. And then under that is the capital, and you can see in the blue was the Cedar Hill rehab, which was a big chunk, obviously of capital. And, we kind of committed, and, I talked to Fred about this before I came up with this plan, not to borrow any more money. We've got quite a bit of debt right now, and the commissioners agreed that, we really need to clamp down on that. So because of that, we raised our connection fees, got more up to industry standards. We raised our fire protection fees, and we introduced the debt service charge, which I think we advertised pretty well to everyone, that is based on the amount of water that you pump. And that's a down in yellow at the bottom under the revenue. We have a debt service charge, and that charge per cubic foot covers that. Okay? So,
So does that have to change because Very Fine
Yes.
is going away?
yep, yep.
Okay.
So you can see under revenues, our rates were projected at, $1.998 million, and we have connection fees, which typically our connection fees now are going to be used for capital.
You said 20% is what you're expecting a reduction in from that not being online?
20% reduction in the water that we sell.
Okay.
Right. So it's not a straight 20% reduction in our revenue.
Well, 'cause some of your expenses may go down, or is it gonna?
Well, we have, because of revenue, we have connection fees and other charges, but also the debt service charge is going to be pushed on to everyone else.
Right.
So it's not, it's about a 15% reduction in total revenue as
Okay.
it works out. But you can see in yellow that the debt service charge has jumped from the 1 cent per cubic foot up to 1.3 cents. And that's because of our debt service jumped up in FY '16, and that's because of the new treatment plant.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so, even that said, we were looking at a slight, $100,000 loss for FY '16, but we were also going to fund all $700,000 of the Cedar
Right,
Hill.
Right.
So, and we were going to end up with, $400,000 in the bank, which I think was a good plan. So the last sheet, case number 4, now this is where, if you look at revenues, kind of in
Yep.
the pink color, you can see where the revenues are dropped from Very Fine, going away. And you can see in red that now that $550,000 debt service charge has gone up to almost 1.6 cents. Because we're selling less water, so we have to raise that charge. But that will cover that $550,000, which was
So
what it was
the-
designed to do.
The average bill, and I don't know whether we have an average bill or not, but we're going from 1.3 cents
Yep.
to 1.5 cents,
Right.
or almost 1.6, I guess,
Yeah.
5.7. But how much is, I mean, that's,
It's an 11% increase. So our average residential customer is probably going to see an increase. Our average residential customer is right around $600 a year. It's going to go up to, $660, $670. So it's going to be another $60, another $15 a quarter. But it was going up 6% as it is, just because of our debt service jumped way up. So when we designed that debt
I
service.
guess that was really the question, though, is how much is it going up? If the Very Fine hadn't closed, what's the difference between that and now? I mean, that-
5%.
5%, yeah, so I was gonna say
5%.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah, about
so about $30.
Okay.
An extra $30 because
Okay.
of Very Fine,
Yeah, so it's double, right?
So, and the idea that when we put the debt service charge into effect was that we, because that covers our debt service, that we don't have to touch our base rate.
Yep.
Let's
Yeah,
leave the
right.
base rate alone, let's let the debt service take care of that, because that was really, the burden. Now, luckily, the debt service is going to start stepping down, as you can see in later years.
right.
And if Very Fine, if something goes back in there, then it's also easy for you to adjust this as well, so that's good.
Yeah, and the other thing that I didn't do in 17, 18, and 19 is, we have the Point, the hotel's going to be moving in.
Might
There's,
be an uptick in that.
yeah, there's
right?
going to be some usage there. There's going to be some usage at the 40B project on 15 Great
And do you
Road.
project that out? Do you have any idea what that's gonna be? You have
Not yet.
No idea, because you know how many businesses are gonna be in there, how
Just-
full it's gonna be?
You just
or-
don't.
Yeah.
Very Fine has been using about 8 million cubic feet a year, which is huge. I mean, they're just,
Right,
they're,
well, I mean,
they're
the whole
they're
operation.
sort of
It's just
water
not-
water hogs. So,
Yeah.
we might get, between those two developments, 1 million of that back, but every little bit counts.
Sure, and help, sure.
So it's, we'll adjust that as we kind of get some more.
We can't sell it to
data.
like California or something?
Yeah, right.
Some money?
It's interesting you say that, because I had a conversation with Savas yesterday. He's down in Florida, and Westford has already contacted us about buying water, and Acton needs water too. They're both short of water, and, especially in the summer months. So
Yeah.
Very Fine is gonna be kinda slowing down this summer. They're not completely offline, so we really have to watch that.
Right.
But we have withdrawal limits that we can take out of our wells. But we're gonna look at it real close, and I'm thinking maybe the summer of 16, we may be able to sell some water
Wow.
to one of those two towns. So that would be a nice revenue source.
Yeah.
If we can keep below our withdrawal limits with DEP, I think that would be nice. But Savis heard about Very Fine, and he said, yeah, they need water, both towns. They don't have enough withdrawal to serve everybody.
Well, we already sell water to Kimball's, right?
A little bit, yeah. Yep. Yep. So that's another revenue source that I think is
Maybe we should go into the
interesting.
bottling business.
As it is, I don't think, Savis has done that odd-even watering ban. I doubt we'll be doing that. I think we'll have a watering ban, which DEP requires 9 to 5 during the day, which makes sense.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be watering in the heat of the day anyway, but I don't think we'll do a watering ban like an odd-even.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll need to, So, if
Our
you,
water tables are in pretty good shape at this point?
they are.
This particular winter, yeah.
Yeah, they are,
I would
yeah.
hope.
Yeah. And hopefully we have a hot, dry summer and people use water. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so that's another source of revenue that we don't know about, that's
Right.
untapped, that people, might start watering lawns more, if they can.
What condition is air in? 'Cause
Yeah, I
we
was gonna say, Air
basically
always
draw
has
from the
that
same
odd even
pool,
signs
right?
up everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. They're in the Nashua River Basin. I'm not sure what their situation is. I don't know.
Seems like I've seen that sign at the
One of their wells
mobile
drew
in the-
from the same
years.
aquifer that Spec Pond drew from.
They do. They they have one like right on the other side of the pond there. But it's odd. It's in a different, they're in the same basin, but in a different watershed. And that's kind of how the DEP looks at it. So I'm not sure, but
Okay, okay.
I've never heard that they were short of water, but,
They've just had those watering ban signs up for
yeah,
like 10 years. it
Everybody was
seems.
doing that because they had to meet the requirement of reduction
right.
that the state put on everyone, so that was one way of meeting that.
Yeah, they have, we have the 65 gallon per capita. Littleton's way below that, we're in the low 50s, so we have some room there. Some of the towns were pushing that 65, so without a watering ban, they
Yeah,
go
they-
over to
right, right.
65, and
Right.
then they're gonna get fined.
So we'll be way under that now with reductions with, right?
No, because it's gallons per.
Per household.
Per household.
household,
Oh, okay,
so
right, but
it's-
not on a yearly
yeah.
basis. there.
It's not aggregate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Exactly, so that's kind of below what the revenues look like. So now the challenge is, we've got to drop our expenses, and if you look in the middle where the blue is, you can see that we've knocked off $520,000 out of capital. In the following year, we've knocked $230,000 out of capital, and that's basically just knocking off Cedar Hill Tank. That's removing that. So, we've done it through capital, but then when you look at the top, what we've also done is lower our, by about $100,000, our operations and our salaries. We are gonna downsize a little bit as far as our workforce. But, when you lose 20% of your revenue,
Yeah, that's a big
that's
hit.
something that we feel is prudent. So we've really trimmed our O&M, and, we're trimming our salary budget. And, we feel that if you look down at the very bottom, we should be positive for the year if all this works out right. And, we should be continuing to build up our reserve fund. So that's some positive news there. We're just going to have to go through a little bit of pain. Hopefully, we'll keep our fingers crossed on Cedar Hill that we can leave it offline
Yeah,
and that we don't have to do it. If we had to do it this summer, we'd probably have to borrow that money. you know, which is really something that we're,
So what do they do with it?
Against.
They tearing the whole tank down? They rebuild it the inside or something, or what?
well, the rehab was sandblast inside, outside, repair all the welds, and repaint it.
Okay, right.
And that simple process is $700,000.
Yeah, right.
How old is that tank again?
50s, early 50s. So we
Young,
get,
young,
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
Getting younger every day, Paul.
yes. It's got another, they told us we'd get another 25 years out of it, so. So right now, it's a cell tower.
Right, yeah.
We're leaving it up because
Banking
it's a
those
cell
in.
tower.
Right.
Yep.
And we get money from that, you know? So it's just a big blue cell tower for us. But we'll see, you know, and the DEP said they're fine with it. They said, you know what, if you ever need it, let us know and we'll reevaluate it and we'll go from there. So, you know, we think it's a pretty good plan. And
So it's definitely going offline in September, you said?
September 1st, offline, exactly. Exactly. And we're actually, it's interesting, we've actually had it offline this spring, because we want to monitor like pressures in the system and flows and everything looks fine. We're going to keep it off if we can this summer, and just to see how things go,
Right.
you know?
Right.
We might have to fill the other 2 tanks a little bit and stuff like that.
So when it's offline, you would drain it, or you just would, whatever water's in there, you leave it, or?
We'll probably drain it, just because if you leave it in there, it gets stagnant and it
Yeah.
grows bacteria and that. So we drain it. We can fill it in a day if we have to. It's only 400,000 gallons. So if we need it, we'll fill it back
Yeah,
up and use it.
okay.
But yeah, you don't want that water sitting
Yeah,
there
yeah.
being stagnant.
Right.
It was interesting. We thought we might have to keep it full because of wind loads or whatever, but they said, no, it's fine the way it is. So, you know, someday that might go away. We might not have a tower there, you know, a tank there. We may not need it, but we avoided that cost for now. So that's the story.
Good.
Looks like you did a good job. and-
You responded very
Yeah,
well from what I could see.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
You know, we did a lot of work
Responsible.
last year with the rates and, you know, trying to figure all this out, and we were just really feeling good, and then all of a sudden we got that news. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
You know, Savis always told me, if Very Fine closes, things are going to be different. Very Fine used to be 40% of our revenue.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
it
that
was
long
much,
ago.
yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, that's just shows, you know, as time goes on, that usage will fill in with growth. So, you know, 10 or 15 years ago, it would have been disastrous. We can get through it now, you know, we can get through it. So.
Maybe somebody will buy it, Pepsi or something.
Oh, the other thing I did note, and I forgot to show you in Capitol, is we were going to start doing work for another well, the Cobb's Well, which is a bedrock well, you know, up near the Concord line. So we've kind of put that on hold, you know. We might start that science up again in a year or two and look forward to that, but, you know, we really don't need it now. We have enough capacity in the wells we have, so there's really no sense in putting money into that now.
Yeah.
But we will eventually probably go in that direction, because our real goal is probably to shut down the Whitcomb Ave wells, which are untreated, you know, and to go to if we could go to a bedrock well with the 2 other wells that are treated, I think we'd be in great shape. But we have a little time now to put that off.
So near term, looks like we have one Article 5, and then Article 6 will probably be withdrawn.
Correct.
And just a.
And in the budget.
Internal movement.
Right.
And the Water Enterprise Fund really doesn't have any impact on the town budget per se, but the reason we're involved with the water budget is because if in fact they have a big problem, it falls to the town to fund it.
Okay.
But the plan that they put together basically, you know, keeps them whole, keeps them vibrant from
Yeah.
what we can see, which I think is really, really good work.
Yes. Yeah.
They have the contingencies built in there, too. That's good.
Yeah.
Including all the OPEB costs, too, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. We pulled the OPEB out of there because we don't have to fund that, so, you know, well, maybe just for a year, you know, maybe next year we can fund it, which is our.
What I'm saying is the town doesn't, you know, that's not even borne on the town.
Oh,
side.
no. No. We actually, it's interesting you say that. We actually changed the formula through Steve. We had for the retirement, we had the actuarial study done, and It's, the water department is, well, both light and water are gonna pay actual now, based on that. The light department went up, the water went down a little bit. So there's no more of this kind of,
Yeah.
estimation
Right.
and percentages by number of employees.
Right.
It's, they're actually
Like
looked
the
at.
real number, right?
They actually looked at the real number, so it takes a little burden off the town, especially on the light department side. It was about $160,000. So that helps out a little bit too there, so.
Great.
We try to pay our own way as much as we can.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay?
Nice.
Anything else?
Speaking of that, did you go to fully funding for OPEB for any new employees that come on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yes, we are. Yep. So that should be all set.
Stop the bleeding, right?
That's right. That's right, so.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you
very much.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
good job.
Yep, very good job.
He softened us up for you.
You didn't wear green shirts, so that was the magic.
We're a green community.
Yeah, that's right, there we go. That's me, that's the downstairs meeting.
Oh,
Okay, welcome.
Does everybody know Sharon?
Sure.
We've seen her a couple times.
Hello, Sharon, how are you?
Miss Sharon.
Hi.
Happy to be here, I can tell.
Yes, I am.
Get your support group behind you there. Very good.
They're bodyguards.
All right, so, what do you want to talk to us about with, where you heading? What?
You have our budget for next year, right? Have you seen this?
Yep.
The article?
in
You
the-
have that?
Oh,
All
in the article, yeah.
right. Bonnie, we've been working with Bonnie on our projection numbers and where we're gonna be, so we're in the process of, we just had, we just had.
Six, yeah, Article
Yeah,
6.
Article 6.
All right, yeah.
We just had a meeting tonight and approved our new job description, so we're gonna be going forward with that. She's taken into account that, what we estimate that new job description's gonna come in at, salary-wise, and she's also taken into account the elimination of driver's ed, which just happened.
So you did eliminate that?
Yep. Yep.
And when are you gonna hire the director? Is that, you just working on that?
We have to go to the personnel board,
Yep.
get approval, and then go to the selectmen to advertise, and then advertise it, so it's gonna be after July
Now, how are you
1.
getting by now without that position being,
Sharon is the interim director. It's pretty hectic right now.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you
You're going to wind down,
you're gonna
right?
be ready for
Not happening,
personnel
right?
board Thursday? With-
Thursday, yes.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
So you look for them to start like July 1 or something? Is that like the target, or you don't?
You know, we want to get through the hurdle of the personnel board, selectmen, and then we can advertise, and then we'll have a target, but it's not gonna be before July 1.
No? Oh, okay.
No, we're already April
And
here.
I'm
By the
assuming
time you advertise,
This is the busiest time of your year, right? Obviously, what we're heading
it's
into.
just starting, yep,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Are there any other stories in the details here, Ivan, between FY 15 and 16 beyond?
No, just the capital, you guys are aware of that, right?
Yeah.
But we've eliminated some other programs as well, in addition to driver's ed, community programs that, we were not making money on, so.
Or community ed programs, that sort of thing? or
No, no. Like the bunny breakfast and things like that, We're gonna look at things like Halloween parade and fire and ice and things like that, movie at the beach, et cetera, et cetera. Yep.
So obviously, come next year, it's gonna be pretty much kind of the same kind of issues. I mean, this isn't gonna solve your problems, right? I mean,
Um,
this one-year solution.
Well, no, I mean, we are, yeah, I mean, with the elimination of those salaries with driver's ed, reduction in the director's salary, we're looking to close that gap. And, you know, we just voted tonight to increase some fees. And, you know, that's going to be an ongoing process throughout next year,
Right.
so.
And hopefully somebody new comes in, with maybe some new ideas from some other
Yeah.
places and things like that, too, to generate something, or you're not expecting that so
I-
much?
You know, possibly. I don't know. You know, we'll see. I don't like to put all that, you know, you know, it's gonna,
Yeah.
we're
Let them
gonna
get settled on
find
first.
a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah,
No,
not expecting that.
no. No, if it comes in, great, you know, but, we're just gonna have to keep tabs on it. And again, Bonnie, is doing a great job, and we're working closely with her. Sharon is working closely with her now, and,
In terms of the summer programs like the beach and the camps, those sort of things, all kind of projected more or less to,
those make money,
yeah, right.
yeah. So, you know, we're not touching those. We're not touching any of that. It's, you know, mainly the programs that broke even or, you know,
The
required
sports pay for
staff.
themselves. right?
Sports, yeah, sports leagues, you know, they have their own, you know, operating, their own monies.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they get quite a bit of support for
Yeah.
not a whole lot of
Yeah,
charge. So I think that needs to be looked at going forward. I mean, that, you know, they kind of dump a lot of the admin onto Park and Rec.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
All for administering the leagues and such?
Yeah, we're gonna be looking at a lot. I mean, you know, bringing in the director, though, I mean, we're gonna have to take a step back and look at everything and,
Yeah.
you
I mean, it was
know.
a million years ago, and I was involved with Little League, but that was all done by the volunteers who ran the league, not in the Park and Rec office.
Well, you know, back then, you didn't have internet. Everybody
Right,
came in,
right.
wrote a check, okay? Right?
We had telephones.
We had Pony Express.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
When you were a kid,
and there was only 1,000 people in town.
We had Ken White, but you might not remember
No.
Ken White.
In Whitefield,
Well.
yes, that's what I know. But yeah, I mean, those days were different, and honestly, we have 11 different sessions of programs now. You know, we didn't have football, lacrosse, hockey. We didn't-
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
Ice
We-
hockey.
Yeah, we didn't have those back
Right,
then.
right.
Now we do.
Yeah, I saw the
So-
lacrosse kids practicing out on the tennis courts on the way in
That's right.
tonight. Yeah.
Stay off the fields.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anybody who's
Right, yeah.
who's watching
Creative
tonight,
use
stay
of
off the
space there
fields.
too, right, yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
Well, hopefully this is the worst you'll have to go through, what you're doing right now.
yeah, 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 yeah. Hopefully that's, you know, we turn things around revenue-wise and see what happens going forward.
Yeah. You have gone through a lot, and it's not fun, and I think we all appreciate the fact that you stuck with it and have, you know,
Yep.
Yeah.
gone through and worked through and coming up with some things that
It's been going on for a while,
Yes,
so.
it- address it, and then you
Right.
move forward.
Right.
So, I mean, the water department kind of had to do the same thing to some extent,
Right.
too. I mean, they were,
Right.
he also walked into something and kind of had to fix it.
How
so.
come everywhere there's a big problem, Ivan, you're on the board?
Listen,
Start to add up. You're on the water commission, you're on the Park and Rec.
say the word and I'll walk away.
Don't say the word.
That paycheck is not.
Yeah.
That's right, huh?
Yeah. But did Scott mention the new program for this summer for the water department? I don't think he mentioned it.
No, I didn't mention any new
Well,
program.
the new program was wash your car every day
Oh, yeah.
on the irrigation. Okay?
Send out some flyers to do that?
Yeah.
You know? Right? We gotta make up 20% of the water.
2 showers
All
a
that stuff we
day.
said about
Absolutely.
conservation.
Support
Just
Let's
kidding.
go.
Yeah.
Well, Keith is downstairs talking about being a green community,
Yeah, right,
right?
yeah.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
green this
Be
place
nice
up.
and green.
That's right.
Green lawns.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The other idea I had was for that space, if they wanna sell that space, they should sell it to a turf manufacturer, and we'll do a TIF for turf.
Tiff for turf, there you go.
They'll give us free turf,
Yeah.
right?
Give them all the water, they're gonna need a lot of water to grow the turf, right?
Not that kind of turf.
Oh, well, you could have a turf farm.
You could have a turf farm.
Right.
Absolutely. There you
Golf
go.
courses and
Even
stuff.
better. See? Why not?
Okay.
We hadn't voted the recommendation.
We had not. No, we're going to do that after we get through all this.
Okay.
With the water department. We left those for after we heard from the experts here.
So those are the final numbers we took out of capital, 22 and 20? I mean, what was the final number we got out of capital, Bonnie?
It was 50.
50.
Yeah, all right, so,
Yeah.
yeah, 50, all right, oh, is there, all right.
The problem
I knew
is-
it was
yeah.
50, and I was just wondering what these other.
Well, yeah, it's in the capital article. It doesn't show up on the.
Right, yeah. I wish this was a little bit more descriptive in this article, how you could break it out a little bit better.
Right,
But
so you
I mean,
could-
when I looked at it, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And when do you expect to wrap up driver ed? I know we've got some kids going through now or about to go through. Is that sort of the tail end
Yeah,
of it? or-
the employees, their last day is.
This Friday.
This Friday.
Okay,
And Sharon has already sent a letter out to individuals who have remaining hours to do for driving with options to look at, and she's doing a great job in interfacing with other drivers' ed programs. So we're gonna work that through. It's about 50 kids.
okay.
And we'll still have Kevin Lee, who,
So,
works downstairs, and he's a licensed driving
Mm-hmm.
ed instructor. And so for kids who have, just a few hours left, we'll, try and get those
figure out how to
certificates
Yep.
right out.
schedule him in, and, okay.
And the registry has been great. They're gonna give certificates for the hours completed to date, so that
Which
they
is
can take that
unusual.
certificate and go to another driver's program, and they have to accept those hours. So, registry has been really,
Excellent.
really excellent to deal with and helping us through the.
Terrific.
through
So
the
you're being pretty
process.
creative there. That's good.
Yeah.
How about the turn back on the vehicles? Because they're on lease, right?
No, we own
No,
those.
we're gonna sell them.
So
Oh,
we'll
we
sell
own,
those.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh, good.
yep.
So you don't.
You interested? Are you interested?
Can I wash it 3 times a day?
Now you're talking. Yeah.
So when you mention that, so where does that show up on the budget then? You sell the cars. Where does that come in here?
Bonnie probably would just stick
This
it
goes in the
her
capital,
reserve.
huh?
General
Yeah.
fund,
Thinking.
or, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can sell that, it may end up this fiscal year, not next fiscal year. We
Okay.
don't know when that's gonna
Okay.
happen. They're not worth a lot.
Yeah,
No.
I would think, yeah,
unfortunately,
right.
but-
Yep. Okay, anything.
Good.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Oh,
Anything you want to tell us?
good
or-
job and tough work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you guys had to go through this.
Yeah, we really are. Everybody,
Well, everybody's going through it, right? All departments are going through it.
yeah, but some are
Different,
more
not
more
quite
than
like
others,
you.
though, yeah, I don't
No?
know, I don't know.
No?
No.
I think we should share the pain.
Yeah, well,
I've been
We
trying.
feel
you're
your
special right now, so.
No, that's a shame.
So you guys know you know how you're gonna spend the 50 grand in capital? You've already got.
Every year we, it's a lot of the same. The beach takes up a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fantastic, thank
very
you.
good. All right, thank you for coming.
You guys keep your chin up. You're doing a good job down there.
Yep.
That's the way it's always been. I don't know how to get it on the register. I'll look and see what other people do. Yeah. Just curious, because it seems awfully low. I'll check it out. Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right, so Bonnie had something come up, so she couldn't come tonight. She did, with something we should have in the packets, that she left something about the water, or the, snow and ice. Paper here, got it there.
Yeah, the single sheet.
Yeah, I got it here someplace.
Oh, she just giving us an update on it, obviously?
Single sheet, yeah, we don't have to vote on anything, I think she's
I
letting
think
us
it's pretty
know.
consistent with what she told us
Yeah,
last
it is,
meeting
and then
anyways.
she expects that there will be a
So these are her final numbers?
Well, there
or
there is an
pretty close?
article, there's a placeholder already for town meeting,
know if they're
but I
final.
won't, I don't think we should vote on anything tonight. We'll wait until
Right.
Monday if there's a real number, otherwise, when we get there, right? When we have it finalized. So,
And she was going to look at what she thought we might be able to get back
from FEMA.
from.
Oh, yeah,
from
the
FEMA.
reimbursement.
They don't know
It-
yet. She said she
it's-
doesn't know
That's
yet.
a
Right,
crapshoot.
right.
And if it comes in after the first of the year, or
Right.
after the first of the fiscal year, then it
Yeah.
becomes just free cash going forward.
Right.
or-
Right,
Okay.
correct. Yep.
Okay,
So there will be something, I mean, just certainly there'll be something, we just don't know how much.
right.
Okay, and then we want to go back to the town meeting articles and vote on the ones that we didn't, there are a few of them we put on hold,
Yeah.
particularly regarding water and park and rec. See where we are on those?
Article 5 in the special town meeting, I think is the first one, Water Department Enterprise Fund.
Yep, is that the special, yeah, special town meeting, Article 5, so it's page 9, well, on the, yeah.
Yeah, I would move that the Finance Committee recommend Article 5.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We expect Article 6 to be withdrawn, correct?
Yeah, I believe so, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he thought it probably would be, so we can pass on that one. And then we had,
Article 6 is Park and Rec.
I'll go back to 5.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Article 5 on the annual town meeting from the Board of Water Commissioners, operating budget, I would move that the Finance Committee recommend.
Page 18.
Page 18, yeah, thank you.
Yep, a second.
I just saw. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then Article 6,
6,
which is Park and Rec.
I'll move the Finance Committee recommends Article 6, Park and Rec Commission operating budget.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay. Nope, Article 7. No, we already did that one, never mind.
Yep.
7, yeah.
9, no, we don't have anything for that one yet, it's on hold, but we have nothing for that one yet. And 15, I also have a hold on. We also don't have anything for that yet.
Right.
So I guess that's it for tonight, for that.
We still, is it still early enough to get those recommendations in the mailed
Oh, yeah.
report?
Yes.
Okay, good,
That's why we wanted to do them today.
right.
So, I'll let her, actually, I should write this down so I can just give her a short email of exactly what ones. Just vote on here. Let me make a note to myself here.
self.
Yeah, note to self. All right, so we did 5. And then, annual town meeting. Right, we just did 5 for the special, right?
Yep.
And then we've got 5 again, and 6. And that was it. Is that right? One more. Is that the same as you had, Marilyn? Just 3 of them that we voted to recommend?
I believe that's it.
All right. Make sure. Okay. All right. Did everybody get a copy of the letter?
Yep.
Any questions, comments? My main comment is, and Bonnie, you probably saw her response today, so she fixed a couple of the numbers that I asked her to verify for me.
Yep.
I guess I misunderstood some of the capital coming available, though, that it was gonna be coming sooner rather than later.
Right.
She said Shaker Lane isn't really available until 2020. It's just that when we do bonding, that we start 3 years earlier and just pay interest and that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure it really makes sense, if we're not talking about 2020, to be talking about that other stuff yet,
No, I
right?
think-
It really,
Yeah, might be a little.
or it does it because they're gonna be talking about the fire station anyway, and so we should bring it up. Is that what you're thinking?
They are talking about the fire station?
Well,
Next
they will
year
be,
is the
next
plan.
year.
No,
next
I
year
thought
we
you
can
said
start
coming up
planning.
in this, yeah,
No,
right,
no.
yeah.
No, no,
yeah,
no,
it hasn't-
not this year, next
Yeah,
year.
right, right.
I thought your language was fine. I thought her,
Okay.
her changes in it were more accurate.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
so-
exactly.
So I don't have, I thought your whole report was fine. A couple of little grammatical things. The only or spelling things were the only issues I had. And obviously Bonnie's changes were all,
Same sort of issues I've run in
The
when
one
you try
thing-
and line up your numbers with
Hang on,
Bonnie's.
hang on, one thing at a time.
Go ahead.
yeah. So the only thing I think this parenthetical about Keith's
Oh,
email.
that's not,
that-
that's coming out.
that's-
That was the note.
That was the one I.
That's coming
picked
out.
up.
That was
That's
just the note that I had
Okay.
there.
The other, I think all of Bonnie's changes were fine. That said balanced. I think that should be balanced budget. I don't know if that was caught
Yep.
or not.
I don't think so.
See?
Become a balanced balance, all right.
Yeah. And then in the paragraph above that, there were a couple of points where I think you had a long line of things separated by commas. There's,
Yep, a whole
there's-
bunch of 'em.
Yeah, but there's one that says codifies both Board of Selectmen. I think that should have an end parenthesis after town meeting and then a comma instead of a period after that.
I don't see,
Okay.
that's what I have, so.
Oh, okay. Codifies both
Balanced
of
budget at, after town
annual town meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And parenthesis and then a comma, but, because then the rest of that
Oh,
is a
yeah, yeah,
continuation of
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
list.
How did that
Right.
happen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right, good point.
Okay, two other things about it, the TIFs and pilot, the first pilot, it didn't have a T in the version
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then
Jeez.
let's say, usage of revenues, I assume is what you probably meant, recognition and usage
Mm-hmm. Yep,
of? Right,
yep,
Okay.
very good.
See, I read it.
You did, even that list of stuff, which would not be the first thing that I would skim over and go to the next one, so
Yeah.
good for you. All right, you earned your money tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one, so at the end, then we'll say, make a comment about the Shaker Lane debt that's being paid, coming off, and then the height, will be paid off in 2020, and the high school in 2023. And with that comes a rare opportunity to look at the overall needs of the town.
And the reality is, each of these years, it's going down. The last,
Yeah,
your
right,
last
that's
years
when
of
it finally
payments
rolls
are,
Right.
it's just, they'll be fully paid off
Right,
on those years.
right.
So it's, I think there's a significant chunk coming off next year.
That's what I
right.
was thinking,
Yeah,
and
it
that's why I
is.
was
It would-
surprised when
that's
she
what
came
they're
back.
talking
It
about.
sounded like she was
Right,
negating
next
that.
year.
Right, it's just that
Yeah.
it kind of peters
Okay.
out
Yeah.
over time. So
Right.
it's not like it all ends.
Okay.
It's not like
I'm gonna have to
my,
I'm gonna
yeah.
reword that again then,
Yeah.
so, because that comes across, because I don't think that does. All right, other than that, it's pretty much your letter with some updates. Yes, sir.
I would like to go to sentence 1, page 1.
Sentence 1, page 1.
Propose that it read, for fiscal year 2016, the Littleton Finance Committee, FinCom, recommends Article 4, or warrant Article 4, in the amount of $43,218,192, blah, blah, blah. Not recommending the budget proposed by the Board of Selectmen, but recommend the budget proposed by the FinCom.
Okay, so say it again. So you want to say the Littleton recommends the budget of,
Recommends Article 4,
Yeah.
or
Let's just
of
leave it
the-
at that.
Right.
You see where I'm going with
Yep,
this?
yep.
Okay.
Because that's our sole responsibility is Article 4, right?
Yeah, to make a recommendation
Right,
on the
make a rec-
budget.
right.
Not to
Right.
create the budget, because we don't.
Or to.
Didn't say we created, it says we recommended it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so recommends Article 4 in the amount of, okay,
Any more than the selectmen.
Yeah, well,
All they can do is recommend it.
right.
They propose it.
Our form of government is a strong town meeting in a weak selectman, like it or not. That's our form of government.
That's right. That's correct. They have the right to propose, we have the right to recommend, and the town has the right to vote.
Right.
Yep.
So I think the existing language was fine. I think eliminating it doesn't really change anything, so that's, I don't have a problem with that either.
okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's,
Anybody else? Okay, and that was relatively easy. Now, David, bring that list, go ahead.
I just move that we, pending the alterations mentioned, move that the Finance Committee adopt the report as presented and amended. And I assume the language you're going to put in at the end, you'll circulate?
I will.
Okay, great. So
Betsy, what about?
second.
The ones that have X's and stuff like
That, Bonnie sent that, maybe you didn't get copied on it, Bonnie sent that out today, and she
This was
updated
her
it.
copy.
Okay, so well, there's still X's in there?
Just send her a cleaned up copy.
Okay, but where do you see it, Marilyn?
I see it on, oh, no, sorry, it was yours.
Okay,
'Cause I had it
yeah, okay. I was saying, I didn't think, I thought that was all gone, okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You were saying? You moved?
I
Make a
moved and
motion?
Alan seconded.
Okay. All those in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Okay. All right, cable TV? Still want to do that next time? And if so, we need topics for what people want to talk to. Obviously, we'll have slides, which Bonnie will do, which actually talks about the budget, I guess, go through it like she did before. And then I put out the email with some suggestions on other things. I don't know if people want to jump on any of those, or whether we just want to say, here, here's the budget, we recommend it, and leave it at that.
I think a really brief synopsis of the things that happened during the year is fine, but I think we were really kind of struggling last year to split up enough topics
Yeah.
to spend, time on, for each of us to
Not
talk.
overlap each other, too. That was
Yeah,
another
I-
issue.
I think a couple slides on the budget, and a slide or two of bullets that talk.
Put her at the beginning here of
somewhat-
this?
Yeah, sure. I personally think is enough, but, you,
I think the Dog and Pony show was good, but it's gotten stale now.
yeah.
Okay. Especially if there's more controversy, if there's more things to address, I suppose, too, but.
I'm happy to keep it short enough, and if you do all the presenting, if that's, that's probably,
That'll shorten it right there, huh?
that's fine, no.
Well, I mean, another option Bonnie put out, she said, I used to do this, she goes, I can do it for you if you want.
Yeah,
The
no,
town wants to hear from
Okay,
those of us that are looking over their
Yeah,
shoulder,
okay.
that's, yeah.
Yeah,
All
no,
right, I agree.
But
Just
I
thought
think
I'd put it out there for everybody.
Two things, but I think it's a useful exercise to educate the town on either
Yep.
something that's new in this year's financial situation, which I would think that the changes and the reform of the CPC stuff is significant enough to warrant a little attention. And then I always think it's a good idea to give them a teaching moment on some topic. One year it was OPEB, but we've just maybe how I would suggest maybe how the Park and Rec and Water Department, the other departments that use a
Enterprise.
yeah, enterprise fund, how that, differs, because maybe not everybody understands that, and you can present them the numbers, but essentially they're self-funding, or in the case of Park and Rec, it's a hybrid, partially funded, and, any chance to get an audience and we can teach them a little bit more about how their finances work, why not?
So you want to do that one?
Oh, okay. I think it should be covered. I don't need to have any airtime, but I'm willing to if you want.
I think
Yeah.
you'd be the right one to do it, and you obviously have
Well-
some passion for it, that would be fine.
Well, those are two different topics, so
Okay,
maybe we should have another face here. Maybe not everybody needs to do it, but
Okay.
a couple of people. perhaps.
all right, anybody interested in doing the CPC?
We don't have anybody on the current board that
Yeah,
was really
I don't-
involved in that. But it doesn't really matter. Anybody
Right,
can do
anybody can
it.
do it.
Pete, you're an officer. You gonna be here next week, or what is it, 2 weeks from now?
Sure.
Good. Study up. You're nominated.
You can talk to the town hall
Sure.
folks, too, they'll
Yeah.
give me more. And keep it short, I mean, we don't want it
Yeah.
to be
No,
very
no, just
long
just a
anyway.
slide. Right. That's
Yeah.
on any of these topics.
Okay.
But we've got the base. Did you get the base one from Bonnie? Or
I have it,
you
yeah,
do
from
have
last
it?
year, I don't have
Okay.
this year's numbers in it
Right,
yet, but
right.
I've got it from last year, so, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, we'll do that then. Now, I suppose I have to probably contact the cable folks, huh? The cable folks.
They're right
about-
next door, aren't they?
About getting set up to do that, but yeah, I don't think it's probably too much of an issue.
In the
so.
format maybe to have Mark be the master of ceremonies and sort of asking questions and introducing people and whatnot. I mean, I've seen, a couple of the ones that he's done. I think he does a real
Oh,
nice
that's
job
fine.
of that.
There you go.
Instead of, it can be the finance committee report, but, he's sort of the
Yeah,
master of
that's an idea, too.
ceremonies. And
Sure.
I think that, it works pretty well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, could do that, too.
Mark Corey you're talking about?
Yeah, I think he does a good job at it. I mean,
Sure he does.
he's
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of those myself.
All right, we'll talk to them about that. Okay,
In fact, they may want us in studio rather than in our
Yeah.
usual room. I don't know where, that part doesn't really matter.
No, well, back when we used to do basically the warrant with the moderator and
Right.
Tim, back when Tim was doing it, and we first had
Yep.
cable. We did it
Kind
in.
of talk through the whole warrant, right?
Right, yeah. And Keith does that now with Mark.
Yeah,
And I don't know whether Tim's in on
I
that.
started doing that with Tim 3 or 4 years before Tim left town.
Yeah, so we were doing that, yeah. So,
So they'll probably cover CPC. Do you think we should do it as well, just because we're finance?
I think
Yeah.
because we've changed the structure on it,
Changes,
people might have questions too. I mean, we're kind of, using it as a place to dump money for, we vetted it,
Yep.
and, people might want to hear a little bit more detail. What exactly are you doing with all this
Right.
money, and how we get it back out again, and, kind of the guarantees in place, that sort of thing. The advantages.
Okay. Moving right along. Anybody else have anything else before we get vote on minutes? Okay.
So we'll need to do some circulating of slides
Right.
prior to then.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, okay.
We definitely will. And I will. All right, minutes from March 24th. The corrected minutes, everybody got?
yep.
Yes.
Anything else to change, or is there a motion?
We accept the minutes of the March 24th meeting as amended.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, it's done. Anything else?
The one outfit we never got in here, and they
Hmm?
were gonna, was the tech.
Oh, they're coming next week.
They are,
Next
okay.
time, 2 weeks.
Charlie coming in there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he's coming in 2 weeks.
So, all right, so we'll have to let them know where we're gonna be, if we're meeting in an odd location.
Yeah, yeah, right, who knows?
Yeah, we get
As far as I know, we're
bumped
still in
again,
the usual place, but who knows, right? Yep. Anything else?
And we,
I think
what is it,
we're
next
busy
Monday is
talking
the
about
auditors meeting with the selectmen?
Yes,
I-
Monday
I may
night.
not-
Yeah,
I may not be in
Monday,
town
right.
for that, unfortunately, but hopefully some of you folks will be.
Okay, and Bonnie said she would post that for us tomorrow, so, so there's other stuff.
Are we
going on.
meeting next Tuesday?
No, 2 weeks from
2
tonight.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yep,
But will be posted for Monday.
be posted for Monday.
And that's at 6:30.
Correct,
Right? I
6:30.
think it's actually before the normal selectmen's meeting. but-
Well, I think the normal selectment starts at
starting at
6:30
6:30
now.
Starting at
Oh, do they?
6:30.
So it might
Yeah,
be
they
6
moved it up.
o'clock, actually, that's a good point, it might be 6 o'clock for this. No, no, this
I
is
thought it
just
was
part, is it
6:30.
just
I think it's
6:30?
just part of the meeting, right?
Okay, yeah,
I
right,
think
okay, yep.
I think it was 6:30.
All right,
I,
We'll verify
I don't know,
that,
okay.
yeah. All right,
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Good meeting.